I've covered crazy, but I've never experienced anything like this. That's what the founder of Haitian Times Gary Pierre-Pierre told the New York Times recently. His comment follows vitriolic rhetoric that spread like wildfire in the last 2 weeks. In case you've missed it, a rumor about pet-eating Haitians was born out of Springfield, Ohio, elevated by top GOP politicians, including former President Trump in his debate with Vice President Harris just last week. Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, has repeated the false rumor multiple times. For a refresher, here are some of these clips.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Vice President Harris said again today that the, quote, hateful rhetoric over migrants eating pets is what has caused the bomb threats in Springfield. Can you just respond to her latest, please, on this?
I think that's basically my response. Just put that in the paper, loud boos and 2 thumbs down.
Officials in Springfield, including the mayor, sheriff, and even the governor of Ohio, have sought to debunk this rumor. But that hasn't stopped the rhetoric, and it's taking a toll on Haitians in Springfield and beyond. Pierre-Pierre says the onslaught of hateful speech has grown exponentially in the last few weeks, so much so that it has forced him to shut down the comment section of his own newspaper. Since the memes about pets being snacked on have run rampant, Pierre-Pierre says that it has endangered people's lives.
Here to discuss further is Gary Pierre-Pierre, founder and publisher of the Haitian Times. Gary, thank you for joining us on Rising.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you start by breaking down a little bit of what you feel the climate is right now for Haitians and specifically Haitian reporters, including the ones on your staff?
Well, as you can imagine, it's a very tense situation. Think about you just moved to a new place a year or so, and all of a sudden you find yourself the target of some hate, and you are totally clueless about why. And that's the situation with folks in Springfield, Ohio. As for our staff, it's been really, really stressful because we are journalists. We have a right to do a job. And so one thing you didn't mention was that our editor was doxxed and swatted. After we did a town hall meeting virtually about Springfield, when she got home, a day later, the police came to her door and said that they had a report that someone had been murdered at her location, at the address, at her address. And you can imagine she has a family, the stress that's been faced, the situation, and that it's just unbelievable. It is something that we, even as a journalist, as you mentioned, Kevin, in your intro, with the quote that I gave the New York Times, yes, I have covered wars and conflict all over the US and the world. And I've never seen such personal vitriol. And it's really disconcerting that it's happening in Middle America, of all places.
Mr. Pierre-Pierre, I know in the wake of the debate, the representatives and reporters of the Haitian Times reached out to the Trump campaign. I don't assume you likely heard back from them, but I wondered if you could also speak to the former president in his remarks in that Long Island rally this week, saying that he intends to come to Springfield sometime in the next 2 weeks.
Well, I don't think it's a good idea because it's going to be really flaming the situation, making it even worse and much more difficult. And by the way, we're talking about the Haitian residents, but the other residents, their lives have been upended as well. They cannot send their kids to school. They cannot go to houses of worship. Just simply grocery shopping can be problematic, as grocery stores have been evacuated after bomb threats. So I just wish he would just like calm things down as a leader, as a former president, as a wannabe future president. There are certain ways that a head of state, a head of government needs to act. And over again, we see the former president has failed the leadership test, and he's about to do that again if he goes to Springfield.
Mr. Pierre-Pierre, we have seen residents in Springfield, Ohio, concerned about the pressure on public resources and some of the jobs. They say they feel that Springfield citizens could have filled some of the jobs that are now being filled by Haitian migrants and refugees. At what point do you think the criticism of the mass influx of Haitian migrants to Springfield is legitimate, and at what point do you think it crosses over into territory that is perhaps harmful to people who have come here through the TPS system?
Amber, let's step back a little bit and look at what and why the Haitians came to Ohio. Ohio has a serious problem. It needed workers. And it asked the federal government under Trump to find its workers. And the Haitians came. Now, the point that you're raising, the problem came because state, county, and federal governments failed to provide Springfield the proper resources to deal with such a large influx. You know, the Haitians migrations there have really put a huge pressure on social service, schools, healthcare providers, and so on and so forth. But the problem is not that the Haitians are doing anything wrong. In fact, as you know, there are many, many reports, and we've been out there. They have helped to revitalize the city. And so the business community is quite satisfied with the quality of work that they're getting. The Haitians, we're not taking anybody's job. These were jobs that were available that people just didn't want to do.
Well, to be fair, Mr. Pierre-Pierre, I mean, to be fair, it is true, though, that some of the Haitian migrants are working for lower wages because their stay in Springfield is subsidized in part by public benefits, right? So the employers who are saying that they're happy with the work from the Haitian migrants also have to be honest and tell the truth, which is that they are paying them lower wages. Of course, they're happy to do that. The Springfield residents, I think, are troubled by the fact that they would not work for such low wages or lower benefits because they're used to a higher standard, and they don't get the same public benefits that a refugee would. So that's, I think, where the tension is coming from.
Well, I understand, absolutely, you make a point, but there's nothing that the Haitians are getting that any person living in America would not get. They're just getting some help, some healthcare benefits, some SNAP benefits. There's nothing special that the Haitians are getting that other residents aren't getting. But it's a complicated, it's a delicate situation that you've also raised a good point, Amber, about, you know, migrant exploitation, and that exists, and I know about that very well. But at the same time, it's a very difficult situation. But I think that the Haitian presence have not really negatively impacted the residents, native-born Americans' lives, to be quite honest. I mean, I stand behind that because that's the truth.
Mr. Pierre-Pierre, one of the leading Republican voices actually praising so many of these Haitian migrants who've come here is actually Governor Mike DeWine, who wrote in an op-ed today published by the New York Times titled, "I'm the Governor of Ohio. I don't recognize the Springfield that Trump and Vance describe." Interestingly enough, the Republican governor, Mike DeWine, was born in Springfield, lives just 10 minutes away from that community, and he has very strong words of support for many of these Haitian migrants who've come here seeking work. How important is it to elevate some of those voices from within the Republican Party to kind of provide for cooler heads to prevail with all the rhetoric that's been going around?
Well, Governor DeWine has a long history with Haiti. He's been to Haiti many, many times on missionary trips. And so I'm glad he's speaking out. We do need calm voices, reasonable voices. And unfortunately, the too few of the members of the Republican Party have spoken out. And I think it's unfortunate because they know that no matter what the problems are in Springfield, let's address them properly. Let's not use dog whistles and just tropes and these other things that not helping the situation, in fact, is inflaming the situation.
Thank you so much for joining us on Rising, Gary Pierre-Pierre. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.